Olá, boa tarde. Já estamos aqui ao vivo e hoje vamos ter uma entrevista com o Dr. Dhanvantari, que é um médico de medicina convencional e de medicina Ayurveda, diretamente da Índia, como não podia deixar de ser, assim mesmo, diretamente da origem. Espero que vocês possam aproveitar ao máximo aqui esta entrevista de hoje, esta apresentação, especialmente para colocarem questões, está bem? Portanto, vocês estão completamente à vontade para ir colocando questões. Nós vamos dando aqui as respostas conforme for possível. Vamos então só aqui ver se entramos. E dar aqui uns segundos, por favor. Ok. Já temos então aqui. Welcome, Dr.
Hello.
Dhanvantari. I think I can hear you, but now you have
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
image.
Namaste,
Welcome. Oh, namaste. So good to have you here. Thank you so
same
much.
here, and thank you so much for having me here.
Well, I really have to know. I really have to let everyone know that I'm so happy about this moment because our conversations started like perhaps already 2 years ago, no?
More than that, and actually, we had planned for this in 2019 for an event in Portugal, and then because
Yeah.
of the epidemic and all these things, we couldn't do it. But there's always a time. Let's
Oh,
see.
yeah, it's more than this. So, yeah,
More
we
than
have
five
been
years.
talking since then. We first reached to each other through the LinkedIn, which
Right.
is an amazing platform for work connections and to meet people that are really, really special. If you allow me, Dr. Danvandari, I will be speaking sometimes in Portuguese, okay?
No issues. No issues. Absolutely, I can understand.
Então, estava a dizer que nós realmente temos falado já aqui há algum tempo e que finalmente este momento chegou. Eu pensava que era há 2 anos, afinal já foi desde 2019, o tempo voa. E é uma alegria muito grande para mim estar aqui acompanhada do Dr. Dhanvantari, que é uma pessoa muito especial e que hoje nos vai poder falar então sobre a medicina Ayurveda diretamente da fonte, que eu acho que é isso que importa, está bem? Portanto, espero que aproveitem o máximo, que possam realmente beneficiar não só da conversa e da apresentação, bem como que possam então tirar as vossas dúvidas ao longo desta sessão de hoje, está bem? Dr. Dhanvantari, so before we start the presentation, and before I share the slides with everyone, I would like you to just speak a little more about like yourself and the beginning of your journey in the Ayurveda, because I think it's always something so special because it's a knowledge that it's millennial, and it's a knowledge that it's like health promoting. It's so different from our medicine today because for what I know, the little I know about this medicine, it's a medicine that really tries to help us not to get sick, which should be the main goal of all health professionals, of course. So I would like to hear from you, please.
Thank you so much, Anna, for this opportunity, basically. So my name is Dr. Dhanvantari Kumar Harinajha. So my name Dhanvantari in itself is the name of the god of Ayurveda. So since my birth itself, my family has been practitioners of Ayurveda. My grandfather was an Ayurveda practitioner. My father is an Ayurveda practitioner. My mother is an Ayurveda practitioner. So we have a whole family of Ayurveda practitioners, and have been very lucky to be born in a family dedicated to Ayurveda. My education basically at the start was a modern medicine doctor. So I have done my graduation in Western medicine first, and then because of my family background and everything, I also wanted to learn Ayurveda. And then I came to Ayurveda. I did my graduation in Ayurveda, did my MD in Ayurveda, and have just finished my PhD in Ayurveda. That is my doctorate in Ayurveda. As you said, it is always very fascinating. At the start, when I had finished my Western medicine, I always thought that I will practice both the Western medicine and Ayurveda. But as I got into Ayurveda, I as people think that Ayurveda is just a preventive medicine. But when I came to Ayurveda, I came to know that Ayurveda is not just that; it is a complete system of medicine. It teaches you how to live life. It teaches you how to deal with your issues and how to help your body heal by itself in conditions of diseases. So when I came to Ayurveda initially, when I was doing both the things, it was quite messy. And so then I learned that Ayurveda is the only choice and is the only way forward. And after 10 years, 15 years, I see a lot of people, and not just a lot of people, even the Western medicine turning towards Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is so strong at the base that the principles, the medicines, the things that they had told about human body are even true today after 5,000, 6,000 years of the oldest texts of Ayurveda. So it is very, very fascinating, and trust me, anyone who follows Ayurveda will see the amazing magic, I would say, amazing results of Ayurveda, because it gets into your life. Initially, it may seem a bit difficult, but as you start following it, it becomes a part of your life. And then you start understanding each and every movement of your body, of your physique, of your suffering, of your mind as well.
Oh wow! This is really amazing. I didn't know your family background, and actually, it's a gift. It's a precious thing to
Absolutely.
to have this background, also, of course. And I absolutely agree when you say that it's a way to teach us to live well in all dimensions of life. Absolutely. And I would like just to ask you another thing before I share the presentation, that it's related to yoga itself, because there are many texts that speaks about yoga has a branch or therapy inside the Ayurveda. And I just would like to hear you about this issue, please.
So basically, yoga is absolutely amazing, right? Yoga is something which is for your psyche, for your consciousness. It is more inclined towards spirituality, about controlling your mind, right? We always look at yoga many times. There are many different people looking at yoga in different aspects of life. The Western people think that it is a physical system of exercise or physical movements. The Indian system thinks, or people who are very old think that it is more related to spirituality. But it is a very balanced way between the physique and the psyche. So it takes care of both the things. Uh, in olden days, Ayurveda basically says that you should always learn about all the things around you. You should not be focused just on one thing. You should even know a little bit about what is happening around. And so, in olden days in India, yoga would certainly be helping Ayurveda in treating, managing certain conditions. But as of the original texts of Ayurveda, the very old texts of Ayurveda, there is not a lot of mention about yoga, because yoga was a part of the Indian culture by itself. So maybe that is the reason why the Ayurvedic text didn't write a lot about yoga, or the pranayama, or the Ashtang yoga, where we talk about yam, niyam, pranayam, pratyahar, asan, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, all these things, the eight limbs of yoga. But certainly, what I feel in my practice is it helps a lot, because yoga in itself is something, as I said, which promotes the body to heal by itself. When I do a particular pranayama, when I excite a particular energy in my body, when I invigorate, when I activate a particular chakra in my body through yoga, it is certainly going to help my mind and my body. And what Ayurveda will do is, by external herbs, by external treatments, or by internal medicines and herbs, it will support the body furthermore. So I always feel that yoga and Ayurveda should be practiced along with each other. Many times people say that it is a part of Ayurveda, but there are not, being very, very honest, very, very true. There is not a lot of mention of yoga in the basic classic texts of Ayurveda, because it was believed that yoga is certainly a part of the Indian culture, which was not necessary to be taught separately.
Okay,
But it is
okay.
certainly very important. Again, I'm not
Yeah.
downplaying anything or any thing there. It is certainly very, very important, because certainly, especially in psychiatric disorders, I see a lot good benefits of yoga there.
No, no, absolutely. It was very elucidating because actually sometimes, and I know this, that even if we study and we search for good information, sometimes we really have to speak to the people who knows and who have these origins and who have the seed knowledge, because sometimes, of course, so many years have passed that there are some stories. So it was very very enlightening about the issue. Thank you so much. And
And
now,
one more thing I would like to add, that whenever someone practices yoga, they must have a basic understanding of Ayurveda. Because what I see in the today's world is,
okay,
when people start doing yoga, or they compare it with the physical form of exercise, or Pilates, or such things, and then uh, they don't understand that the same physical activity, when you overdo it, has the chances of vitiating the vata. Vata is the air energy in the body. So if you don't understand
the
Ayurveda,
exciting part, right?
exactly, exactly. So if you don't understand Ayurveda, the same yoga which can be helpful to you can also become harmful if you have a vitiated vata in your body.
Absolutely. And my personal experience as a practitioner and as a teacher, it's absolutely this. Here in in Portugal and Europe, people are practicing yoga without having this knowledge about the balancing. And each time they feel annoyed or bored, they think that it's not a good practice and it has to do with the practice, when they don't have a clue, and sometimes they don't have the right guidance to let them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This is absolutely true, and you put it in an amazing way. So now let's start with the sharing. And each time you want me to skip the slide, you just have to let me know, please.
Sure, sure. I'll do that. I'll do that, Anna.
Thank
So,
you.
this is God Dhanvantri, Lord Dhanvantri, who is known as the chief propagator of Ayurveda. Uh, if any one of you wants to learn more on the history of Ayurveda, then you can join us. You can talk to Anna more on this. But I'll explain more on all these things because those mythological stories about these gods and the demons and everything has a lot of importance in understanding the health and the physical aspects and the basic minute aspects of Ayurveda as well. So this is Lord Dhanvantri and this is the prayer to Lord Dhanvantri. What you can do is you can just close your eyes, join your hands, and feel, experience the prayer. It just says that I bow down to Lord Dhanvantri, who is the god of health and who has the knowledge of treatment and the power of herbs of the whole world. So just close your eyes, join your hands for a prayer to Lord Dhanvantri. नमामि धन्वन्तरिमादिदेवम् सुरासुरैर्वन्दितपादपद्मम् लोके जरारुभयमृत्युनाशम् धातारमीशं विविधौषधीनाम्. So basically, this is the prayer to Lord Dhanvantri. You can see this is the god or the deity. This deity, basically, the idol that you are seeing is a lifelike idol at our own temple, at our institute. Someday, if you visit India, please welcome to our institute and I'll show you that. So you can see the four limbs of God Dhanvantri. The first limb, the right top limb, basically has a pot, and that pot is a pot of ambrosia. Ambrosia means when you drink that, you live forever. So it signifies the knowledge, it signifies the understanding, and as you said, if you understand something and then when you practice it, it gives you the maximum benefits. On the left top hand there is a conch shell because it makes sound, and it is believed that when that conch shell sound comes, it removes all the negativity around you. So it is for that removal of negativity, clearing your mind. Then on the left lower hand, you see green herbs. It signifies that Ayurveda treats with natural things, the herbs, certain products which are natural to the body. Then on the right lower limb, uh, there is a text of Ayurveda. Many times we see a leech which sucks impure blood out of your body. So it also signifies that, and that is the idol of Lord Dhanvantri. So this has a lot of significance talking about the whole culture of Ayurveda, the spirituality, the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect, the physical aspects of health. You can change the slide, Anna. Just a second, Anna. Just.
Bem, aproveitando este pequeno momento, gostava de vos pedir que se calhar partilhassem com as pessoas que estamos ao vivo. Quem sabe este seminário, esta entrevista pode chegar a mais alguém. Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Do you want to translate in between in Portuguese as well? Anna?
No, it's not necessary because then this will be on YouTube and people can see it with the translation directly.
Okay.
But
Perfect,
thank you
perfect.
so much for your kindness.
You can change the slide. So basically, here I have talked about the evolution or the origin of Ayurveda, right? So as I said, Ayurveda, many times when you hear in the modern context, you hear that people say it is 5,000 years old or 6,000 years old. This is why I always say that it is not just 5,000 years old or 6,000 years old. It is as old as humanity because the word Ayurveda in itself suggests the science of life. So when you're breathing something in or breathing something out, it is also Ayurveda. When you're moving any part of your body, it is Ayurveda. When you're thinking something, it is Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda is the process of life or the life process. And so that is why whenever the life might have originated on earth, Ayurveda might have originated by itself. The oldest text of Ayurveda, which is more famously known as the Charak Samhita, which is originally named as the Agnivesh Tantra, was written around 5,000 years old ago. And that is why, because we have a evidence of a 5,000-year-old text, that is why people say that Ayurveda is 5,000 years old. But in before that period, before that, because that was the time when paper was invented, people started writing in this world. So it came into that context that it is 5,000 years old. Fine, sorry. So now this 5,000 years old science is because of the text. Before that, in India, there was a concept where the guru or the teacher would talk to the students, and he would pass the knowledge by oral speaking, and the students would remember, and then they would practice according to their choices. So that is what I have mentioned here. And there are three main texts of Ayurveda. The pictures I'll show. You can change next, Anna. Next. So here I have talked about how Ayurveda is practiced in today's world. In today's world, in India, it is a legal system of medicine. Like the Western medicine, doctors are trained in Ayurveda. They go to 5.5 years of college for graduation. Above that, they go for an MD for 3 years, and then they do a PhD or a doctorate basically for 3 or 4 years in Ayurveda. In many countries of the world, like the Switzerland, the UK, Australia, uh, and neighboring countries of India, it is a legal system of medicine. Uh, Switzerland accepted it in 2015. Slowly, slowly, people are knowing more about Ayurveda. As we say, eight branches of Ayurveda, yoga. Similarly, there are eight branches of Ayurveda as well. So these are the branches that are mentioned here. The first branch is the Kaya Chikitsa, which is the internal medicine, where we talk about the whole body, the physique, and the treatment of the fire, the digestive fire. The second is Komar Bhritya, which is related to pediatrics. But in olden days, the gynecology and obstetrics related to reproduction was also included under this. The third one is a very special branch, that is the Graha Chikitsa. Graha basically means planets. And so, because in India, we see a lot of horoscopes and things like that. So, people used to believe that certain psychiatric disorders were happening because of the planets of the world. So, that was Graha Chikitsa, but actually, it is more related to infectious diseases or things, bacteria, viruses, which you cannot see and which causes diseases in your body. So, to make the common people understand, it was named as Graha Chikitsa, but it is more related to psychiatry and infectious disorders. Then the branch of surgery, that is Shalya Chikitsa. Surgery, basically, if you see the second text of Ayurveda, written by Acharya Shushrut, was the Shushrut Samhita, where they have mentioned like a 3,000 years old text, where he has talked about a lot of surgeries, even the labioplasty, the nasoplasty, plastic surgeries, the cataract removal, uh, surgeries related to the piles, hemorrhoids, and all such things. So it was also a very active branch of Ayurveda, which in due time, because of a lot of reasons, was lost from Ayurveda, but it is still has been started practicing now. Then the Shalakya Tantra, or diseases of places above the shoulder or the clavicle. So it includes the neck, the ear, nose, throat, the teeth, the eyes, everything above that comes under Shalakya Tantra. It was also very well practiced. Then the Agat Tantra, which is toxicology, snake bite, venom bites, all those things came under that. Also a lot of skin disorders and a lot of pollution related issues were mentioned under it. Then the Rasayan Tantra, or anti-aging, you can say, or geriatric medicine for the old people or old age people, comes under the Rasayan Tantra. And finally, the reproduction related. Many people don't have kids, they want kids for reproduction, that comes under the sexual health, sexual wellness, comes under the Vajikaran Chikitsa. So these are the 8 basic branches of Ayurveda. Next slide, please. So you can see these are the 8 very basic branches that we had talked. Next, please, Anna. Uh, so these are the 3 main texts of Ayurveda. I always call them the classical texts of Ayurveda. So anyone who is interested into Ayurveda should at least take the first part of this, any of these 3 texts, which deals with the basic principles of Ayurveda. Out of these 3 texts, and then start learning Ayurveda. It will give you a very uh, nice knowledge about what Ayurveda is all about, how Ayurveda talks about life, soul, physical body, mind. You can learn about them from the first part. All these 3 texts are generally divided into 6 to 8 parts. The first part usually is the part with the basic principles. So if you are interested into that, I would certainly recommend you to go for the Sutristan. It is called as Sutristan. That is the first part. The Charak Samhita, the Shushruta Samhita, and the Ashtangridaya. Next. So these are the texts, and these are the parts that I've written on the side, which deals with different parts, basic principles, the diagnosis of diseases, the anatomy of the human body. There are certain special parts where it deals with signs of death, dreams, because according to certain Ayurvedic principles, even from your dreams or even from the signs of the patient of disease, you can know the condition of the disease, how it would be treated, would it be treated or not, would it become incurable or not, or all such things. Then comes the part with treatment, then certain purificatory therapies and all such things have been mentioned in different parts. But if you are new to Ayurveda, the first part, the Sutristan, that is, you can see at the top, the part with the part of basic principles. Next, this is the first text, the Charak Samhita. This is the Shushrut Samhita. In this text, you see more about surgery and a surgical mindset. A very practical person who has talked like about 3,000 years ago about preservation of dead bodies. Even the modern anatomists consider him as the pioneer for dissection of human body, and also the modern surgeons think him as the father of surgery. Next. Then the Ashtangridaya, which is a very good combination of the Charak Samhita and Shushruta Samhita. It is a combination, more or less, of both the previous texts and in the easiest of languages. It is also a very huge, I would say, poetic masterpiece, because each and every shloka, whenever in Sanskrit, olden Sanskrit, they used to write certain principles. It is called as shloka, and each shloka consists of exactly 17 words. So it is not just a masterpiece of medical science, it is also a poetic masterpiece because it is written in the form of poetry. Next, so these are the 3 main texts. Then there are other texts which are known as the lesser trio, the Madhav Nidan, leading mainly for diagnosis of diseases, the Sarangdhar Samhita and Bhav Prakash, mainly for treatment and medicine and manufacturing of medicine, and the conditions of medicine. Next, next, you can keep going on, change the text. Yes, that is the second, and this is the third. Fine. I have also written the timings of the books according to my sense of understanding the history, on which basis they might have been written. Fine. Next. So let's start a little bit about principles of Ayurveda. Now, whenever we talk about Ayurveda, we always say that there has to be a certain balance between certain objects or certain principles of the human body. And for that, to establish that, Ayurveda first says that everything in this universe, uh, any living organism in this universe, is made out of five basic elements. So many times when I say this, people say that, oh, what are the five elements? And I say they are ether or the sky, the air, the fire, the water, and the earth, right? The ether, air, fire, water, and earth. So then people say that, oh, but then there are metals, there are solid things. There is iron, there is copper, there is gold, there is milk. So how do you justify that? So I always say that these are known as Pancha Mahabhutas. Maha means extreme or very minute. So these are properties. These are not physical elements that we are talking about. These are the properties that we are talking about. When I say sky or when I say ether, I mean the property of emptiness. So wherever there is an empty space, it is dominant in the sky or the ether Mahabhut. So does our body have empty spaces? A lot of empty spaces inside our mouth, inside our intestines, inside our bones. There's a lot of empty space. So these spaces are basically dominant in the ether Mahabhut. Then the second is the air. So, is there air inside our body? Any movement that happens into our body, any movement, it is the movement of the thoughts, it is the movement of the impulses, it is the movement of the physical body that we see, is all possible only with air element. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, so that is air element. The third one is fire. So do we have a physical fire in our body? No, but the heat in our body, the energy in our body, the power to make things simple in our body are also fire. Many times people also misinterpret this fire with the metabolic fire or the metabolism that we do or the digestion that we do. It is not just that. Over and above that digestive fire, this fire also means simplification. When you listen to something, you are listening to what I'm talking, and you are converting that in your mind to understand. So you are making it simple for your mind to understand according to your understanding, right? So that conversion is also this fire. Then the water. So water doesn't just represent the water, but it represents any liquid, any fluid, our blood, our plasma, any fluid in our body, the mucus in our body, everything is that water. And finally, the Prithvi is not just the earth, but it means any solid part. So anything which is solid, the bones, the organs, everything is the Prithvi. And that is why these Panch Mahabhutas are not five elements, but they are the five basic properties. And now, when you think of these properties and think of any object in this universe, it will always be made up of these five elements only and nothing else. So, Ayurveda says that on the basis of these five basic properties, the things in your body will start making up. And from these five basic elements becomes three basic doshas of the body, which you might have heard of: the vata, the pitta, the kapha. We usually call it as the vat, pitta, and kapha. So these basic doshas of the body are the physiological governing principles of your body. What happens there is these doshas are made up of two dominant mahabhutas. The first two dominant mahabhutas, that is ether and air, that is the empty space and the air, combine together to form the vata dosha. So what happens there? Empty space and the air. So wherever, it is a very common understanding that if there is no empty space, there cannot be any movement, right? Inside the solid part of the wall or a metal, the molecules cannot move. Why? Because there's no space inside. And that is the ether. Now, so whatever movement happens in our body, any movement, I'm moving my hands, the nervous system passing the nervous uh, uh, the ideas to my brain, and then my brain sending signals to the body to act upon, that all movement basically is governed by the Vata dosha. So whenever I take something in and it is traveling inside the body, it is also vata. So the gas, the traveling inside the body, is all vata. So whenever you have any disease related to movements, say for instance paralysis where there is no movement, it is also a disease of the vata related problem. Whenever there is a mind with the thought processing or a lot of thoughts, or diseases like parkinsonism where there's excessive movement, it is again all because of vitiated vata dosha. Then the next two elements, the fire and water. When the fire and water combine with each other, it forms the pitta dosha. Now, many times people say, Dr. Jha, how can fire and water combine together? But it is possible. The blood in your body is fluid, but it is hot. So, this is fire and water. Similarly, the digestive juices in your body, hot but fluid. The digestive acid in your body, hot but fluid. So, when this pitta gets in your body, it basically works as a fluid, easy flowing, but it is hot, it is energy. The conversion in your mind that happens, uh, we see things through our eyes, right? The light falls on our eyes, it goes to your brain. But if your brain is not working properly, if your pitta is not proper, you will not be able to understand that what this image is. So to recognize basically that light that has gone into your eyes needs to be converted, needs to be simplified. And that is what pitta does in your body. The conversion, the simplification, the digestion, the understanding is all what pitta does. So this is where I feel all the psychiatric related diseases like depression, like certain other things where your mind is overthinking, your mind is not processing happens. Diseases like hyperacidity, diseases like liver related disorders, blood related disorders, skin related disorders, where it is the excessive fire in your body causing that problem. That is pitta for you. And finally, kapha is water and earth, which is basically nourishment of your body. So, whenever there is a necessity, because we have a physical body, our cells are replenished every day. We need new cells, we need to maintain the old cells. And that nourishment, that growth in our body is the kapha dosha, which gives you stability. And so, these are the heaviest of elements. When you see the elements, I always talk of ether, then air, then fire, then water, and then earth in a sequence, because from up to down when you go, the heaviness of the element keeps on increasing. The top, the ether is nothing, and so there's no weight at all, while the earth is the heaviest. So, whenever someone is obese or has a lot of weight, it is excess of Prithvi or the earth. So, you need to reduce that. And these five properties or these five Mahabhutas will also be present in the food that you eat, the things that you do. And depending on the condition that you need according to your body, you will select the opposites and try to balance all these things. So, this is the basic beauty of Ayurveda. I always say that a very simple thing like the five elements, the five properties, and the three doshas, if you understand this, there is no disease in this world that you cannot understand. There is no mental disease, there is no physical disease in this world that you cannot understand. It is just that you need to understand these five things and these three things. That is the three doshas and the five basic elements of the universe. Along with that, now because we have a lot of modern doctors around us, a modern Western medicine around us, so then they would ask you, what is this physical body? The physical body, then Ayurveda goes a step further and explains that there are seven basic tissues of the body, which are known as the saptadhatus. That is the seven basic tissues of the body, which include the plasma, the blood, the muscle, the fat, the bone marrow, and the reproductive tissue. So, this is the physical body that we are treating, but the basics will always remain the five Mahabhutas and the three doshas. And a very important factor, that is your digestive fire, that is the Agni, and the waste that will be created from your body, which will be the main gross uh, uh, waste products, I would say, would be the stools, the urine, and the sweat. So, depending on these elements, if you understand these elements, you can treat the physical body. And if you understand the Panch Mahabhutas and the three doshas, you will understand what is your basic body type and what it will do, and the food based on these five basic elements and what it will do to your body. Next, Anna.
If you allow me, I would just like to make a question around
Sure,
these.
sure, 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 sure.
Okay, because we often speak about the gunas in our yoga classes, the
Right.
tamas, the rajas, and the sattva, and I just would like to know if you bring these related to this health balance. I don't know if it's directly linked to the five elements or if it's directly linked to the three doshas, please.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Anna, for that. Basically, usually it is called as the gunas, right? Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas are called as gunas. In Ayurveda, we say that they are gunas for sure, no doubt with that. But these are also called as the mental doshas. Like the physical doshas are Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, which also takes care of the mind. But when we specifically talk about mental disorders or psychiatric diseases, we also talk about Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. But there, we say that all these three are not doshas. It is only the Rajas and Tamas which are the doshas, while Sattva is a guna. Now you have to understand the basic meaning of the word dosha there. Dosha means anything which can be vitiated and which can cause a disease, right? So that is why Vat, Pitta, and Kapha all are very necessary for my body or your body or anyone's body. But it can be vitiated. It can be vitiated by wrong diet. It can be vitiated by wrong lifestyle. And so it can cause diseases in our body. And that is why they are called as doshas. But sattva cannot be vitiated at any cost. Even if you increase the sattva a lot, it is only going to be good for you. And so sattva is a specific guna of the mind, while rajas and tamas, if you have a wrong diet, wrong lifestyle, wrong mental thinking, then the rajas and tamas can be vitiated. And so rajas and tamas are the doshas of the mind. But if we have to talk of all three, that is the sattva, rajas, and tamas, they are known as the gunas of the mind. And when you look at the basic structure of the vat, pit, and kaph, you will understand, and the sattva, rajas, and tamas. Rajas is very similar to vata and pitta imbalance. Rajas, when you compare, because Rajas is all about physical, worldly pleasures, attaining good diet, good food, tasty food, people desiring for all such things. And that is the balance of Vata and Pitta, both. While tamas is a balance of, is a disturbance of vata and kapha, where you don't want to do anything, you are fickle minded, you are your thoughts are spoiled in the mind. It is an imbalance of vata and kapha, while sattva will always be of a pure pitta. Pure pitta is which takes you towards honesty, takes you towards light, takes you towards energy, leaving everything aside, being very true to yourself. And that is pure pitta. It is not the vitiated version of pitta, it is pure pitta. And so Ayurveda also talks about these things, but in context of diseases. And that is why I always say that Ayurveda always knew that yoga is always there to make people understand about sattva, rajas, and tamas. And so they have not talked a lot about the mansic gunas a lot, but they have talked about sattva in some context, because Ayurveda talks about different personalities. And then there they have talked about the sattvic personality, the rajasic personality, and the tamasic personality. But it's a very different topic. I have not talked about it here because it's very, very deep, actually.
No, no, it was already perfect because you just was very clear to me. I had some doubts about this, and it's completely clear now. So thank you. We'll
Perfect.
continue. Thank you.
Yes. Next, please, Anna. Next. So I have here talked about. So now the modern people are very much into detoxification, cleansing the body, and they are very much allured towards the system of Ayurveda, which is known as Panchakarma. Panchakarma basically means five basic cleansing therapies of Ayurveda. Like the yoga has the Shatkriya, where you do a lot of cleansing through vomiting or stools or dhoti, neti, all such things. Similarly, Ayurveda has five basic therapies. These basic therapies are all based on the excess of dosha that are into your body. Ayurveda says that whenever you want to treat a disease, you are always going to treat it on the basis of the doshas, right? You understand the doshas involved and you treat the doshas. So Ayurveda says if the doshas are a little bit vitiated, you will give oral medications, you will give a certain diet lifestyle, you'll use certain herbs to balance these vitiated doshas, which are vitiated a little bit. But if you want to treat excessively vitiated doshas, where the disease is excessive, where the doshas are very high, the disease is in a very high stage, then you need to remove the excess of doshas. And for that, Ayurveda designed these five basic therapies of cleansing. The first one is Vaman or therapeutic vomiting. Here, what we do is we induce vomiting, and so the a lot of waste product from the upper part of the body, especially above the stomach, will be removed. And this therapy is for kapha related diseases. Whenever someone has obesity, starting stage of diabetes, or all such things, we use this therapy. Excess of mucus, excess of stickiness, excess of laziness, we use this therapy which is called as Vaman. You can see a lady closing her mouth, want to vomit out. So that basically signifies the therapy of vomiting that we do. There are a lot of pre procedures and post procedures for this, but for you to understand, for kapha we use this. Then the second one is viration or purgation. In this is for pitta related disorders, any liver related disorder, blood impurity related disorders, skin diseases, liver related conditions, spleen related conditions, ascites, liver cirrhosis, all such things. We use this viration, where we give medicines to have loose stools. Sorry. So this, because Ayurveda believes that the kapha resides in the upper part of the body, the pitta resides in the middle part of the body. So whenever I have to work for the pitta or the digestive system, I will do viration for that, where I will give some medicines which will cause loose stools, and the excess of pitta will be removed out of the body. Then the third one is the enema or the basti chikitsa. This is basically done for removing the excessive vata in the body, like conditions like paralysis, Parkinson's, all that I have talked about. Whenever there is vata disturbance, we do enema there. Then the two therapies are very, very specific. One is the Nasya therapy, where we put medicines, which can be a powder, which can be an oil, which can be an fluid of the herb or a juice of the herb, into the nose. It is for the mind, because we feel that Ayurveda says Nasahi Shiraso Dwaram. That means the nose is the gateway to your head. And so, whenever you put anything into your nose, it goes to your brain, it goes to your mind. And for any disease of the head, it basically, we do this Nasya therapy, which is amazing. Even in many conditions, to revive the consciousness for unconscious people, we do this Nasya therapy. It is very good for sleep related issues, insomnia, headaches, eye related diseases, diseases related to ears, nose, throat, everything. We use Nasya. And finally, the bloodletting that you see, where I have kept a picture of the leech sucking the impure blood. Uh, there are different types of Rakta Mokshan or bloodletting, but this is one of them, which is done for impure blood specifically. In cases of high blood pressure, in cases of skin diseases, we use this. Next. Next, again, I have explained all these. Next. So now these are the fancy therapies of Ayurveda. The oil massage. It is extremely good for all the vata related issues. Very simple. Why I have kept it here is because I do a lot of international teachings, and with these simple therapies, at places where you don't find a lot of herbs or people who want to practice Ayurveda, these simple therapies can be used. This is one of the therapies where we use oil for massaging the whole body. It is extremely nourishing and specifically very, very good for vata related disorders.
It's
There
so
are
good.
different conditions. Absolutely, absolutely. The Ayurvedic massage is the simplest, Anna, and very, very relaxing. Next,
Absolutely.
next. Then the head oil massage, very good for the nervous system, very good for the mind, very good for the hairs. Next. This is a very specific therapy where we use sand, heat the sand, make it in a bolus of cloth, and then apply heat to the body. This is very good for different types of pain in the body. especially related to rheumatoid arthritis, where there's a lot of deposits in the smaller joints of the body. It is very, very effective. Many times you see people with rheumatoid arthritis have crooked fingers, and it is very difficult for them to make the fingers straight. In those conditions, this Valuka Swain or sand fermentation, a very, very simple therapy, can be extremely important. Next. Then we make certain paste of herbs and then apply on the head. Very good for certain psychiatric disorders, certain headaches, and it is extremely good. This is what I was talking about, the nasal instilling of medicine. And here there is a simple thing that I love for pitta related headaches or blood pressure related headaches. And even for insomnia, what you can do is ghee or the clarified butter that we use in India. You just put few drops of that ghee into both your nostrils at night, can be extremely good for all types of headache and insomnia both.
Okay, I will take this out now. We have a question. Is there a treatment of fibromyalgia in Ayurveda? Thank you so much, because I think this is amazing actually, because fibromyalgia, it's a kind of disease that it's really increasing the prevalence among people,
Yes,
especially women, of course,
right.
because all the autoimmune diseases are heaviest in women. So, Dr. Davantari, please.
Perfect. So, regarding fibromyalgia, basically, it is basically related to the paralysis of muscles slowly. You can say it is kind of a paralysis of muscles. And as I said, if you remember, uh, any movement related thing in our body, any nourishment related thing in our body, according to Ayurveda, is related to Vata. Ayurveda always says that whenever there is a genetic predisposition, if it's a genetic related condition, it is it can be managed. I won't say it can be treated, but it can be managed. But if it is not so, in such conditions like fibromyalgia, you can do simple oil massages if your body doesn't have any toxins. Simple oil massage with sesame oil can be done in such conditions. And along with that, we use a specific therapy which is called as Shastik Shali Pind Swed, where we cook the rice with certain herbal decoction and milk. And then this rice, as I showed you a bolus of sand, similarly, we make a bolus of that rice cooked with milk and pala. Pala is a specific herb which we use. Sida cordifolia is the Latin name of that, and we cook that in that decoction and then apply on the external parts of the body, because the body from within is not able to nourish these muscles, and in such conditions, this type of fermentation therapy becomes very, very important, and it can help a lot. And we see very good results with such conditions, even with children suffering from cerebral palsy, where nourishment is an issue, or there is a condition called as Duchenne's muscular dystrophy,
Yeah.
DMD. In that also, this Shastik Shali Pindaswed, that is the rice that grows in 60 days, cooked with the decoction of milk and the decoction of Sida cordifolia, Bala herb, is extremely, extremely important, and it helps a lot. But in general, as I said, it is a Vata related condition. So you need to balance Vata there. You have to avoid cold things. You have to avoid dry things. You have to avoid raw things and try to eat cooked fresh meals. The Basti Chikitsa, as I said, the enema can be very important for Vata, is again very, very important in conditions like fibromyalgia.
Yeah, and please let me know if I'm right, because this kind of massage with the pindas, as you said, with sand or with rice, it's it's also very, very helpful to manage pain, right? And this is
Absolutely.
very important because when we think about quality of life and how to manage the disease, as you said, because when you cannot treat, you have to manage in order to live with a proper quality of life. This is very important in these cases, right? And the next question, also from Sandeep Puri, how can we know if the body has toxins?
So now there is a term in Ayurveda which is called as ama. Whenever I usually use the word toxins, I mean ama. Ama means indigested food or undigested food. Whenever in the modern context, what happens is we don't do a lot of work, but then our food is enough or more in quantity, or the type of food, the quality of food, that is the processed meat, processed meats, or processed meals, or processed burgers, breads, which are very heavy for the body to digest. And until our previous meal is digested, if you eat, this meal will also not be digested and it will also disturb the previous meal. So, what happens is this uncooked food circulates in our body, and wherever it finds a weak place, it goes and gets stored there. And that is called as ama, which we in Ayurveda generally call it as toxins. Now, there are very simple two things through which you can understand this toxin in your body. One is your tongue. Look at your tongue in front of the mirror. If you see a lot of white coating, it signifies ama in your body or toxins in your body. The second thing that I always advise my patients and my students is to look at your stools. Whenever in the morning you go to pass stools, that is your toilet, you look at the stool. If the stool sinks inside the water, it
Mhm.
also again signifies ama. If your digestion is good, the stool will sink, float on water, and it will not sink. So, if you have white coating on your tongue and your stools are sinking inside the water, it means you have toxins. And one very simple therapy that you can do for that is do fasting. Skip your meals, avoid food for one whole day, drink just warm water. This will help you a lot in removing your toxins. Now, this ama, I always say, uh, is the mama of all diseases. Ama, the mama of all diseases. This
It's
is
easy.
because
It's easy to remember.
absolutely, absolutely. Because in the modern context, a lot of diseases are autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune, according to modern medicine, means your own immunity is working against your own body,
Against your body. Yeah.
right? And so
Wow.
you need to stop your immunity. So, what the modern medicine does, it suppresses your immunity, which is
Not
not
good.
at all sensible, because the body is actually finding something wrong, and that is why the immunity is working against certain cells of your body. So this invisible thing is nothing else but the ama in your body. So this ama, which is undigested food, which is circulating in your body, is considered as a threat by your own body, and so your immune system is acting against that undigested food, which is perceived as a threat to your body, as an autoimmune disease, which is absolutely wrong. And you should not stop your immunity. Instead, you should help your immunity. How would you do that? Again, a very simple answer to that is fasting. Avoid meals for one day a week. At least skip one meal a day and see the results for yourself. Many diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, like lupus, systemic lupus erythematosus, like certain diseases like psoriasis, which are huge problems in this today's world, are all autoimmune related, are all ama related. Skip just one meal and look at yourself. You will see huge difference with your diseases. Skip meals for one whole day, and the next day would be extremely good. And you'll see things working. These are very simple, basic principles of Ayurveda. If you utilize them, you'll see very, very good results with all these autoimmune conditions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the people who don't know, Dr. Davantari was speaking about the rheumatoid arthritis. It's also autoimmune disease. People just don't know that it's also an autoimmune disease. It's not just a rheumatic disease, okay? And this is very important. Um, we still have a question from Sandeep. Can kids 16 or 13 years skip one meal at
Absolutely.
least in a day?
Absolutely. Any child above the age of 12 can do this. I won't recommend one whole day of fasting for them, but at least skipping one meal, skipping the lunch, skipping the dinner can be possible. Give them enough water, warm fluids can be good enough.
Yeah, and in this point, I can share my personal experience. My youngest son, he has 14, and in the beginning, I didn't know much about this, and he always woke up with no appetite at all, and I tend to force him to eat. Then, when I started studying not only Ayurveda but also the fasting, because it has become very fashion, right? So
Right.
I understood that it was okay for him not to eat if he didn't want to. Of course, I gave him a lot of water. Sometimes I gave him a lot of hot tea, and then he will skip the breakfast because it was this meal that he didn't want to eat. And he's wonderful, super healthy, thank God. He's almost bigger than me at
Wonderful.
14. So I think this
I,
can
I would just clear one thing, Anna. For
yeah.
all the Indian people watching, you said hot tea. Hot tea, in the context of Europe or outside India, it means herbal decoction, basically, right?
Okay,
Because when you say tea
thank
in
you.
India, we always think of the milk and the caffeinated tea, which is
Ah,
not the
sorry.
thing that you have mentioned, right?
Okay,
Perfect, perfect.
so perfect. Thank
Wonderful, man.
you. I will speak in Portuguese now, Dr. Davangeli. Give me
Sure, sure.
one minute, please. Eu gostava de aproveitar agora para trazer aqui, não sei se das pessoas que estão a ver aqui em Portugal, se quiserem pôr alguma pergunta, por favor, escrevam em português, que eu faço a tradução. Não tenham problemas, não precisam de escrever em inglês. Mas fazendo aqui um resumo desta primeira parte que o doutor esteve a falar das questões da fibromialgia. Um, yeah, thank you. E estivemos aqui a perceber como é que esta questão das doenças autoimunes funcionam e como é que podem ser, no fundo, abordadas através da Ayurveda, está bem? E eu vou também fazer aqui algumas perguntas acerca das doenças cardiovasculares e oncológicas, mas se alguém estiver com alguma pergunta para fazer, por favor ponham aqui a pergunta, que eu posso então trazer para o ar, está bem? Estejam completamente à vontade para o fazer, por favor, ok? Era bom poderem realmente aproveitar. Dr. Davantari, I was saying to people here in Portugal, if they wanted to ask the question in Portuguese, I would be very happy to translate. They
Yes,
didn't
sure,
need
sure, sure.
to write in English, so it was mainly this. And I was saying that you spoke about the fibromyalgia and a little
Autoimmune
about
disease.
the autoimmune diseases. And now, perhaps, uh, before we have some questions, I would like to ask you about the cardiovascular disease and oncological disease, because actually this is what is killing the most in all of our world. It
Right.
doesn't matter which country. And for what we know now, according to the Western studies in medicine, is that 80% of the killings are these, and 100% of this 80%, it's completely preventable. So, can
Absolutely.
you shed a light on this, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Thank
I
you.
usually like to call these disorders as lifestyle diseases, right? Uh, let's start with oncology first, because it's a big topic. We would not be able to talk about it a lot in very short time, but still, there's a very simple principle I want everyone to understand.
Yeah, that's
What
wonderful.
happens if you keep on hitting at one point of your body? If you continuously start irritating one point of your body,
Hmm.
slowly, 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 like even in the universe, we see that uh, at the shores or at the seasides, there are rocks. Water is slowly, slowly coming and touching the rocks. The rock is very solid. The water is very slow, not with very force. But still, after many years, the rock will become hollow, or it will start showing some implications of that very small thing as well. Similarly, on our body, when we keep on hitting at just one particular place of the body, irritating the same place of the body, it will become swollen. There will be a growth in that area to prevent this continuous injury. And that is what cancer or oncology is all about. If you keep on irritating, if you keep on injuring one particular part of your body, it will show signs of excessive growth to prevent itself from that abuse, from that injury. And that is where a lot of tumors develop in our body. It can be related to blood or the bone marrow, where there is no tumor, but there is a continuous irritation on inflammation, which is also the basics of blood cancers. And on the other side, for a tumor or a growth in our body, it is a continuous injury that is happening to that area. It it can be a direct injury, it can be an inflammation due to food, it can be an injury due to diet, it can be anything, but it is a continual injury. So, whenever such things happen, it has a long chronic history of injury, inflammation, or irritation to that particular area, because that particular area may be the weakest part of your body. And that is how cancers develop in the human body. So, what you have to understand there is, whenever you overdo certain things, because now out of fashion, people overdo exercise, overdo certain foods, overdo many times when you talk of fasting, they overdo fasting. All these things are going to irritate certain parts of your body if it is not suitable for your body. Ayurveda always says ati sarvatra varjayet. That means excess of everything is to be avoided. Don't do anything in excess without understanding your body, without understanding your basic physical mental type. Don't do certain things in excess. You sleep excess, it is not good for you. But good for you, but excessive sleeping is not good for you. Exercise is good for you, but overdoing exercise is not good for you. Eating,
Absolutely.
Ayurveda even goes to this extent and says that the ambrosia, the nectar which you drink and you can live lifelong, even if you consume that in excess, it is not good for you. It is going to be harmful. Similarly, you have to have a basic understanding of your own body type, because Ayurveda also talks about Prakriti, the basic body constitution. So you have to understand what is your Prakriti, what is your basic body constitution, and depending on that, you have to lead a healthy and happy lifestyle. Sadly, in this, uh, the food that we consume, the diet that we consume is not very much in our hands. The herbs, the plants, the vegetables, the fruits are all polluted. they are certainly going to have an implication in your body, and they can also create cancers. But at least try to control whatever is there in your control. Try to understand your body type, don't overdo certain things, and keep on changing certain things according to your body type. And this will prevent you from a lot of cardiovascular diseases or the cancers that we are talking about. But once you have a cancer, then there are certain different things, because it would depend. There are a lot of types of cancers in the body, and depending on that, there are different herbs that can be used. Many times I see a lot of people, oh, I have this cancer, and so because I read somewhere that turmeric is very good for cancer, so they start consuming turmeric in excess quantity. Even that is wrong. Ayurveda may be the safest, the herbs may be natural and may be the safest, but even without consideration of the type of cancer, if you overdo certain herbs, it is going to harm you further. So be careful with that, and try to meet a genuine Ayurveda practitioner and then talk to them about your cancers or your oncology, and they will certainly be able to help you improve your quality of life.
Yeah, and this is amazing because it's a. I believe that now in the Western, with all the so aggressive therapies that we have around cancer,
Absolutely.
this kind of approach, it's more than complementary. It's like the foundation, so your body can resist all the rest. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's amazing. And I will ask you, we are a little over the time now, but I would just like to hear from you,
The
like
cardiovascular.
a little resume about the cardiovascular diseases, because of course it's also lifestyle disease has the cancer. But if you could leave a message for people who has cardiovascular diseases, uh, please do.
Right. So the whole circulatory system, the blood that flows in our body, basically grows through a pumping mechanism by the heart. And all the things related to the heart are very much important, because it is the nourishment, the nutrition, the oxygen, anything that each and every cell of our body requires is transported by blood and the circulatory system. The cardiovascular system thus becomes very, very important, or probably the most important system of our body. There are certain diseases related to them, like the high blood pressure. Whenever you eat a lot of spicy, salty foods, or whenever there is a blockage in your body, or whenever there is dryness in your body, it can lead to high blood pressure, which is known as hypertension, and which is a very dangerous condition, because it doesn't show any specific symptoms. It shows very mild symptoms like the headache or certain things which can be ignored here and there. And that is why hypertension is a silent killer, the high blood pressure. Now, as I said, you will have to think of the reason for your hypertension or high blood pressure. If it is because of alcohol, excessively spicy food, excessively salty food, then it is high fire. So it is because of pitta related conditions. So in those conditions, what you will have to do is you will have to avoid sour, spicy, fermented foods, because this is leading to high pitta in your body, which is leading to excessive blood, or the quantity of blood or the pressure in the blood increasing, which is causing hypertension. So you have to find if it is because of this, it is because of pitta. So reduce those things. If it is because of smoking, excessive exercise, if you are very, very thin, if it is because of stress, then it is related to the second reason, which is the Vata dosha of Ayurveda, where excessive dryness is created, excessive exercise is creating dryness in your body. So, in those cases, avoid cold things, raw things, and very, very light foods like chips. That is vata related hypertension. Or even if it is because of stress, it is again vata, because anxiety, stress, fear will increase vata in your body, which will increase your blood pressure. Sorry. So that is second. And the third one, if it is because of lazy lifestyle, sitting, you are not moving, not doing enough exercise, then overnourishment, then it is more of kapha related issues where there can be blockages in the heart, which is causing high blood pressure. In those conditions, avoid cold, heavy foods, meat, and try to do fasting in such conditions. So, this is for hypertension. Very simple, basic things. Try to understand the reason what you were doing wrong previously and now what you need to correct to correct your condition. Similarly, along with this, the heart can become very large, enlarged, depending on hypertension or high blood pressure. Your heart can become weak if it is related to vata. There are a lot of herbs that we use in such conditions, but my basic advice in cardiovascular disorders like hypertension would be try to understand what wrong you were doing in your lifestyle which has caused you to cause this cardiovascular disorder, and if you find that it is easy to reverse it.
Okay, thank you so much. I will share another question from Yogi Stuti. And I think it's not away from the topic at all because it relates with the lifestyle and the way that we eat and all about nutrition. And I'm just taking a second here to speak in Portuguese again. Nós estamos mesmo a acabar. Se alguém tiver uma pergunta, por favor, coloquem agora, tá bem? Não obstante, depois podem sempre pôr perguntas direto no YouTube que vão ser respondidas, está bem? Mas se alguém estiver aqui com alguma questão acerca da alimentação, ou dos tratamentos, ou dos chás, ou do que for, por favor, estejam à vontade. Yeah, please.
Right. So I see a question regarding fresh food, right? So whenever I see fresh food, Ayurveda always suggests that the meal that you eat, there's no specific time given, but Ayurveda always says that the meal that you eat should be mandoshma. That means light, warm in temperature. The second principle that Ayurveda says, so on the basis of these principles, we'll come to a final conclusion. The second principle that Ayurveda says is anything should not be reheated. Even the water that you boil again and again will become heavier for you to digest, and which is not very good. So, whenever you boil water, because we have modern systems of boiling water, what we do is we take the kettle, take some water, and then keep it back. And then, whenever we want hot water, we again start the electric kettle, which is absolutely not good according to Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda says that whenever you do these processes on the food of reheating, it destroys a lot of nourishment. But it is also very important to cook the food because it simplifies the energy, simplifies the food. So, first time heating is important, but when you reheat or overcook it, it destroys the nourishment. So, in that sense, I would say that any cooked food, if you cannot eat fresh, at least within 3 hours of cooking can be taken. But refrigeration and reheating is absolutely not recommended according to Ayurveda. Many times people do that uh, for 6 hours or 8 hours. That is still okay, but no reheating, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was lovely to hear you and to learn so much about Ayurveda with a so clear presentation and speaking. There were some things I've never heard like this and I've never related like this. So I just have to be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you
Um,
so much, Anna. And you can also announce regarding our classes in Portugal in 2025 in May and June. We are planning for our classes in Portugal as well. Anna is taking care of that. So if you have any questions more regarding the video, because you will be watching this on YouTube, so if you have any questions, you can write into the comment box. We'll try to reply there as well. And all the people in Portugal who are watching it, interested into Ayurveda, interested into learning Ayurveda, you can contact Anna for it. She has been amazing. She has been doing a lot of work for yoga and Ayurveda in Portugal with her groups, her continuous teachings and efforts, even during the pandemic. She always tried to promote Ayurveda yoga there. Always a pleasure. Wonderful personality, absolutely honest, absolutely wonderful, true soul, pure soul. So you can get in touch with Anna. And if you have anything, let's meet in May and June in Portugal. Let's see how Anna plans everything and does the classes.
yeah, absolutely. We will have Dr. Davantari in Portugal, so now I'll speak in Portuguese. Nós vamos ter a sorte e a alegria de ter o Dr. Danvantari em Portugal no final de maio, princípio de junho, que vai poder fazer estas sessões e que vai poder fazer consultas. Portanto, nessa altura será presencialmente e online, claro, e quem aqui em Portugal puder aproveitar, estejam à vontade, mesmo que não falem inglês, eu vou estar a acompanhar o doutor, eu posso traduzir tudo tranquilamente, com calma, porque estou completamente à vontade e dentro do assunto para o fazer, e será uma alegria muito grande para mim poder fazer essa ponte e ajudar as pessoas que precisam a ter aqui a possibilidade de terem consulta com o Dr. Danvantari, que é muito especial e que realmente é uma pessoa fantástica. About your question, Yogi Stuti, when we have Dr. Danvantari in Portugal, if you have these seminars, they will be hybrid, so we'll have them live here, presential, and of course we will also have them online or through YouTube directly or through Zoom. I just don't know this yet, but I will let you all know. I will also arrange and agree with Dr. Danvantari about this so we can spread the word around all the people that we speak to. So it will be in the end of May, beginnings of June, that we are going to have the honor to receive Dr. Danvantari here in Portugal. And it will be a very auspicious and happy moment for me.
Same here, Anna. Thank you so much for this wonderful webinar. And I hope your group has received some understanding of Ayurveda and some interest into Ayurveda, into learning Ayurveda, because I feel
Yeah.
it is the need of the hour for the whole world to understand your own body through Ayurveda. Thank you so much, Anna.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Damaji, it has been an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you that was here in the Saturday evening with this lovely weather, at least here, of course, in Portugal. So I hope that the people who are going to view this after in the recording, you can also make some questions because I can see them, and even if Dr. Danvantari don't see them, I can send to him, and we'll manage to answer all the questions, so that of course when we get to May and June, we can have the most benefit of being all together. Okay. Thank you so much again. I wish you a wonderful weekend, you and your family and all. And well, no words. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Anna.
you.
Bye.
Thank you all that you were here. Yogi Stuti and Sandeep Puri, thank you so much for speaking to us. You were so kind and it was so lovely to have your words here. So I hope to see you all very soon. And I leave you with a heartfully hug, all wishing all the best. I'm going to finish the transmission now. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Oh, thank you. Best wishes to you too. Thank you. I'm going to finish now. See you soon. All the best. I hope to hear from you again.